Welcome back to Quinte Connection. Thanks for joining us. So great to have Connie Garsons on the show talking about Belleville memories and her Downtown Belleville book. Joining us now with more of a sports focus is Scott Granville. He is a producer and writer, has worked in television late 90s and early 2000s. You might know Scott Granville as one of the men behind that Totality on the Bay event back in April of this year. He had the big TV truck, was broadcasting the whole eclipse on YouTube, which was great to enjoy. So Scott Granville back with us now as we're talking specifically about a book he's written about grassroots soccer going forward that was based off a TV show he did earlier on. So Scott, so great to meet you face to face. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Why television and writing for you, Scott? Because throughout your career, you're very creative. You've had all sorts of different opportunities and jobs.
Well, I graduated from Loyalist College in 1988 from broadcast journalism and went right into television from there. So that's how I got my career started. And I worked at City TV in downtown Toronto for about 10 years. And then that's when I came up with an idea for a grassroots soccer show, because soccer had taken over hockey in 1989. For most participated sport in Canada, and most people didn't know that. So we wanted to showcase all the great soccer that was being played coast to coast in Canada, and I came up with the idea and came up with a pilot and sold the pilot to Moses Neimer, who was the station general manager at City TV. And the show went from a small local TV series to a national TV series. Not overnight, but it took about a year, and we sold it to different networks, and we broadcast for 8 seasons, about 125 half-hour episodes, and it also branched off into other sports as well. We did a women's soccer show called Direct Kicks for Chicks. It's the first ever female soccer show that's ever been produced, and in fact, Direct Kicks, when we aired in 1997, which was our first season, it's the first sports show in Canada, and I've always thrown it out there for anyone to dispute, that had gender equity, 50% female participation in the half-hour show, because that's what Canadian soccer was all about and still is. The Canadian women's team, as you probably know, are the Stars, as well as the men's team now. So unfortunately, our show got canceled didn't get canceled. I practically did in a car accident. So the show was stopped after 8 seasons, and the sport has bloomed since then, and we're doing great internationally as well. So it's still the #1 sport in Canada, despite being a Canadian hockey country for sure. Soccer's now taking it over in leaps and bounds, and the book really, and I'll just show you a quick picture of the cover. It really is a local story, because I played all my soccer here in Belleville as a youth, and it has a lot of Belleville in it, a lot of growing up stories about growing up playing basketball, hockey, and soccer here. So it's a good local story.
So Scott, is this kind of behind the scenes of the TV show, or is this kind of more of a biography for you? Direct Kicks to the World Cup, the book that you just showed us now.
Well, it's a little bit of both, actually. It is a little bit of both. I tell the struggles about how putting a TV series together and trying to sell it to different networks, as well as selling it to sponsors, and the things that we had to do in order to try to sell it. And the amount of times we got doors slammed in our faces, it was hilarious how many times, but we kept going. And the unlucky part of it is that it stopped after 8 seasons, just as the sport began to explode. TFC wasn't even, Toronto FC wasn't even a team yet in 2005. And so we kind of got really unlucky, but we not really, pretty much unintentionally started finding young soccer players on the pitch, because our cameras were everywhere. We started picking up video of this girl from BC named Christine Sinclair when she was 16 years old. No one had heard of her. It was her first ever practice for the Canadian national team. And the very first time she was ever on TV was on our little show. So we always called it a little show because we didn't have any budget. and we traveled all over the world. We went to 25 different countries on a very small, limited budget and a very tiny crew. But yeah, we had a lot of fun discovering some of the greatest players Canada has ever produced, and that's what we're really proud of. Is that and the fact that yes, we did a lot of gender equity way back in the day when no one was doing it, and then we expanded to different sports. I know you say you're a big hockey fan. I did a hockey show called Slapstick, which was a mirror image of direct kicks, and that went on air on Rogers Sportsnet for a couple seasons. So, yeah, we were kind of on a roll before a car hit me and stopped things in 2005. But the book has kind of brought back a lot of great memories, and I'm getting really good response to it. So,
how can we get a hold of the book, Scott?
Well, it is now available on Amazon. So if you just type up Direct Kicks to the World Cup or my name, Scott Granville, you'll be able to find it. We will have the episodes of Direct Kicks as well as Direct Kicks for Chicks up on the internet probably within the next 6 months. As we're approaching 2026 and the World Cup here in Canada, we're now getting them prepared and seen for the first time in over 20 years.
Give us an idea of what you do for
the Canadian Soccer Hall of Fame that I've worked very closely with are very interested in working with us for the video, as well as me contributing with books that they have out with Ontario Soccer, which is important because I'm going to be, of course, putting a lot of Bay of Plenty information in that book. So yeah, lots of great things happening in soccer, and yeah, look out for Direct Kicks out there on the web. You'll be able to see old episodes very soon.
It's amazing how far that archive footage can go, especially for folks who want to go back memory lane. You know, it's invaluable, 10, 20, 30 years down the line. So once again, Scott Granville, local author here in the Queen region with that Direct Kicks to World Cup book. Scott, thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing what 2025 has in store for you. Take care.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.